Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Xoogler Community Cup. As you know, we have over 35,000 global members. We do over 300 events a year. And now today, we're so glad to have a longtime Xoogler community member and now the co-founder and director of Google's AI Futures Fund, John Silver. It's based in California, joined by Priyanka Swaroop from Accel. We're going to talk about the Accel Atoms program and specifically for this cohort that they partner with Google's AI Futures Fund. It was recently launched, probably now 3 weeks ago, and we're so glad they came on board immediately to share more with the Xoogler community. As we know, this is due in January, but we want to make sure that Xoogler's heard the latest as soon as possible. But also, if you may not have folks on your team which have great backgrounds with India, we're happy to pair you up with them as well. So Jonathan and Priyank, maybe I'll turn it over to you first to give introductions to your respective organizations, and we'll go to a Q&A that I'll lead. Jonathan, would you like to start?
Yeah, it sounds great. Thanks, Chris. Hey, everyone, I'm John Silver. I'm both a current Googler, former Xoogler. I've left the company a couple of times to start my own businesses. And when I didn't become a billionaire, Google was nice enough to let me come back. But I've been at Google a combined 8 or so years. I've been in your shoes before. I've taken that plunge. So I love just kind of chatting with you all. And, startups have been a huge part of my life for my entire professional career. The first job I had out of college was a company I started. So this is just kind of true to my heart, and really appreciate the opportunity to be here today. We joined when Futures Fund actually initially launched about 6-7 months ago. Chris was kind enough to have us on then as well. Absolutely fantastic experience. We met a ton of amazing founders, and Futures Fund tends to invest a little bit later, normally around like the Series A mark. But we partnered with Accel and Accel Atoms on this, and they actually are investing at a much earlier stage, which I thought was kind of perfect for this audience as well. So really excited to meet all you. We've already met 3 or so of you and heard about your amazing businesses. But yeah, we're excited to tell you a little bit more about the program, what we're building, and how it all works. So with that, let me hand over to Priyank, and he can give a background on himself as well. We let him sneak in, even though he didn't work at Google.
Thanks, John. I envy you guys. I always wanted to be part of Google. I just never got around to clear all the interviews. But it's been fun. So I remember the time when I was in college and Google was, and I think it's still the badge of honor to be at Google, right? So happy to be part of this august company. So yeah, my background, I'm Priyank, a partner at Accel. So I'm a VC. I joined Accel some 14 years odd back. And I come from tech background. So I've been a programmer, product manager and all that. And specifically to Accel. So Accel is a very large fund. We manage over $20 billion. We are spread out among Asia, Europe, and US. That's where we invest. And we do check sizes anywhere from $250K all the way to $200 million. So it's a wide range. We do pre-seed investments. I've done in the past, I think 4 to 5 only idea investments as well. And we also lead pre-IPO rounds, and bunch of companies of Accel in the last 12 months have gone IPO. So Swiggy and Urban Company and Blackberg, and you'll see, and Bluestone, and you'll see a lot more coming in the next 12 months as well. And globally, we are fairly big again. So we have, I'll probably stop there, but maybe I'll jump into a bit about Accel Atoms. So 5 years ago, we realized that we needed to essentially announce our pre-seed programs because people felt that we are too big a firm and people were very afraid of coming to us. People, we've asked founders and they were like, hey, we'll go to Accel after we figure out a bunch of things. And when I need my $10 million check, I'll go to Accel. And in honesty, we wanted to be the first money into companies. So we said we need to package and market the programs. And that's how the genesis of Accel Atoms started. So this is the 5th cohort. Very lucky to have John and Google and DeepMind support the program. Extremely happy about it. And every cohort, we tend to take 5 to 10 companies. In fact, in this cohort, we agreed with John, if we can get up to 20 companies, he'll be very happy. So please apply as soon as possible. Essentially, in each cohort, what we try to do is we try to get companies that are in similar stage together and help each other. And this is not necessarily just very early stage. It's Accel outside of the program also has 200 plus companies. So we are like, we have done 40 companies in the past 4 cohorts, and those companies have gone on to raise $300 million. So I think that speaks a little bit about the program. And yeah, happy to like answer questions, Chris, on the specific cohort, or
Sure.
We can go with that. Yeah.
Yeah, let's dive straight into the program itself. You said you've done 5 cohorts already, or this will be the 5th cohort. What have you found from the past few cohorts? How have you structured it, the program itself? Can you talk about the length of time, any in-person versus online meetups? I'm sure a lot of people would love to hear the details about that. Thank you.
So maybe I'll just flash 1 or 2 slides, and then we'll jump into more details if that is okay, everyone. Yeah.
Perfect.
So yeah. Okay. So I guess you guys can see this. So essentially, the current cohort is focused around AI, and we are funding up to $2 million. So both Google and Accel come together. We invest equal amounts of money in the company, and you get cap table on the cap table Accel and Google. And it can be a direct equity investment, or it can be a safe, one of those two. But we do take stakes. The second is the key dates are 26th January is when we'll stop the applications, and we intend to go live with the program by 26th Feb. We want to complete a lot of the selections by 26th January in the program. And then the program will run for 2 to 3 months. And it will be I think beyond 2 weeks, where we are doing like 1 week will be in London, where we are actually going to be in the DeepMind office. And we might end up doing 1 week of just launch, maybe in India or maybe in SF, one of those 2 places. We don't expect the participants to be in person. In person would have been great, but that's fine. We have done the mixed programs in the past as well. But we do want participants to be active and participating in the program when we are part of this. And in terms of cohort size, I mentioned minimum of 5 companies. Actually, the maximum can be 20 plus, but we'll see. And yeah, this is one. And in terms of highlights, so we already talked about the 2 million investment. You get a bunch of GCP credits, Gemini credits. Actually, you get to work. For me, the biggest part is you get to work with the DeepMind team very closely and solve specific AI problems which you might be having in your product or in your startup. You get 1:1 coaching with Accel team as well as with Google team. You get a lot of support on GTM. You get a lot. I think essentially whatever is needed for your startup to win. So unlike some of the other programs where you have like a very regular standardized structure, this program is not like that, where it's not set up classes, because a lot of the other programs cater to slightly younger founders maybe, or they need a lot of guidance. What we have realized is that we want to attract experienced founders as well, and they don't necessarily want to sit through a class of what is ESOP and how to manage your PMF, and they just want to do the thing. They want very specific help. So that's what we try to achieve with the program. And both on John's side at the AIFF as well as on Accel side, whatever is needed, you need design partner introductions, you need to go and access certain clients inside the Accel portfolio, you need help on technologies. All of that is what we are trying to enable in the program.
But maybe I can add one bit here too. This is helpful. So really look, like, it's not just funding. We're trying to provide true collaboration and co-development. And what that means is that, founders that we're working with, they're getting hands-on support from Google Labs, from Google DeepMind, folks that are engineers, product managers, researchers, go-to-market specialists. So it's really designed to be kind of one-on-one, highly focused, specialized, and curated mentorship from both like the Google side as well as the Accel side to help leaders be successful. So that's how we're looking at this. Like, I would say it's just like, now that you've been at Google many years, I think we're at like 185,000 employees or something insane like that. It's semi-easy to navigate it once you're on the inside, but once you leave, it's nearly impossible, what I found when I had left. And so We're just essentially helping to get you in touch and in the right room with the right builders who are making these models and bringing these experiences to life, and also helping you to navigate kind of the inner working of the company as well from the Google side. So that's how we're thinking about the mentorship piece.
Thank you. And just to confirm, sounds like it will start at the end of February. It will go for a few months. And is it the point of the program also to clearly engage with everyone inside Google, but also other investors? Is there where a graduation program is more like a mini demo day, or how would you think the end of the program will look like, John and Priyank?
Yeah, we shy away, and maybe I'll take that. So first couple of cohorts, we did try to do many days, and essentially the feedback we got from founders was an arbitrary 3-month cycle of giving a demo just puts a lot of stress on the system. So the way we think about this is whenever the company is ready, we have them in fundraising. And please remember, Accel is a fairly large fund. So, in some of our companies in India, we have gone on to put $40 million in one company. I think demo day is we are not planning a demo day, let me put it that way. But since we're partnered with Google, we are definitely thinking of a large announcement of all these companies, a lot of PR. So maybe John can talk about that.
Yeah, I mean, one of the, maybe I'll take a step back too. Like Futures Fund is relatively new. Like I'm sure you all have heard of Google Ventures, GV, CapG. We did have Gradient Ventures as well, but I think that actually recently divested from the company. Futures Fund was started about 6 months ago. So this is a relatively new initiative, and it's a little bit different than the other like corporate VCs that exist at Google today. This is very much an ecosystem fund. So our objective is really to support the Google AI ecosystem and the broader development of AI applications built on top of Google's foundation models. So what we're doing is we're trying to both fund and collaborate responsibly with founders that are building on AI. We're hoping that there's no exclusivity with this program, just to call it out. Like obviously I work at Google, you guys have worked at Google before, but we also understand that sometimes Google AI, Gemini, Image and Neo is the best solution for a particular workflow you're trying to solve. Other times you might want to use OpenAI or Anthropic. So we don't really force anyone's hand in this, but we do provide this kind of mentorship, as I mentioned, and deep tie-ins with the Google DeepMind team and Google Labs team to give you and get you in front of those builders so you can get an early look at model releases. You get access to these models before anybody else in the world. And then you can also kind of build with them so they can give you inside tips on like what works, what's a workaround for a technical challenge, or how to best optimize for a particular use case, and kind of giving you the heads up and tips of the tricks that you might need in order to do this. So that's kind of how the fund works. We launched about 6 months ago publicly. We have north of 30 investments at this point. Some large companies like a Harvey, Synthesia, Glean, Replit, all the way down to companies that are a little bit earlier on their journey, like Cartwheel and TL Draw and Spline and a few others along that way as well. But that's kind of like what we do and how we're different than the GV and CapGs of the world. And we tend to be a little bit earlier in our focus as well, from seed to Series A. So just wanted to give you that for some framing, just because this is a little bit different than the other entities that exist in Google from the investing front.
Oh, it's wonderful. Thank you, John. And what does success look like for you on your side, and perhaps also on the Priyank's side?
You want to go first? I'll take you through.
Yeah. So from our side, we are a commercial VC fund. Our job is to find the next big world-changing company. So it's pretty much commercial success of the startup is what we're looking for, right? Company needs to make revenues, and mind you, when I say commercial success, it is revenue. This is not valuations. There's this big debate whether the valuations of AI companies are going to come down in the next 6 months. So we want to disentangle from that. At the end of the day, the reality is the company has to go IPO or the company has to get acquired, one of those two things. So commercial success is what we're looking for. I think from the program perspective, I'll be very happy that if, let's say, a company comes out and says, I got 4 customers out of this program, and then my revenue started to come in shape, and maybe 6 months down the line after the program, let's say the end of next year or mid of next year, where Accel is able to lead your Series A, $5 million, $10 million check, we'll be very happy with that. So hey, these are the companies we supported, and these are becoming good companies. I think that is success for us.
And maybe I'll give a slightly different type of answer than Priyank here. Obviously, financial performance is key for us, but given that this is an ecosystem fund, right, from the Google side, our core metric is actually how well we can work with you guys, kind of founders, to demonstrate some of the most cutting edge potential of Google AI models. So really, our goal is to demonstrate boundary pushing integrations, basically, you know, successful development of compelling product integrations that showcase unique features and functionality of Google AI, like Gemini and Veo and Imagen, that essentially validates our technology. So that's how we're looking at it. And part of the way that we do this too is when we work with the portfolio companies, we take a look at the existing business use cases, workflow, we break those down one by one. And then we look at that in relation to the Google DeepMind roadmap. And so then we look at, like, for each company, points of intersection that we think can make interesting and compelling integrations. And so then we take those integrations, we work with companies to do the co-development and co-building. And then our goal is to leverage the existing kind of Google marketing engine to promote our portfolio companies too. So you know, Google I/O, for example, we featured 9 of our portfolio companies. Google Cloud Next, Google AI Ad, a bunch of these all new events. Our goal is to really provide features for our portfolios so that we can showcase them and the cool integrations that they're doing as part of the program.
Cool. Thank you. Maybe I also, when I host such Q&As, I love going straight into the application form. If we can go into that, if you don't mind, and I can get your thoughts, Priyank, best fill this out. I think you can see the application form. So it's pulled in from my LinkedIn. Put my LinkedIn, my contact number, put in email. That's fine. Can I put down that we put AI startup communities, and then Priyank, can I put down your name, or if anyone here who's watching it live, should we put down your name, or what's the best way to float our applications out?
Yeah, we've started receiving applications. We have received like 1,300 odd applications till date. And I think the challenge is that when somebody puts my name or John's name, and just for the heck of doing it, it's not great. A recommended person would be somebody who's, if you can find a founder which has been funded by, let's say, John or by Accel, that will be great, because then we can go to them and get some extra information about you. If you don't have it, it's fine. That's okay. A lot of people are unable to get that information, so it's fine. Yeah,
no worries.
One advice I'll give is when people describe their startups, they typically don't do a good job of giving that 160 character or 300 character intro. They can talk about, hey, this is my customer, this is the pain point, and what am I solving? I think that will be great, because it just helps us get your idea in a very short and sweet information. Yeah.
Great. And in terms of video, would you mind sharing more about the demo screen recording? What should they include here?
Yeah.
Practices.
Yeah. I think the demo, if you can keep it like 1 to 2 minutes, not more than that, it can, so that we can play it back at like 1.5x speed. We're going through a lot of, but it highlights the key features of your product. I think that is important, and not all the features, like why is it adding value to the customers? I think that will be the most important thing. The whole idea is to get an understanding of what is the founder trying to do with the vision, and who's going to use the product. I think that is the most important thing. There is also a founder video. I think you can see it somewhere. I think it will just be, that is more to just get a feel of the founder energy, how well they are, how good they are at articulating their vision, it's how they are good at storytelling. I think those are the 2 videos we have. But you don't necessarily need to put everything in. It's up to you. Yeah.
Great. And so this is where people can put a lot of information, the concept note or the pitch deck. Any recommendations on what they should include for this submission?
Yeah, I think like I said, the first is, who is the customer? What is the problem they're having? What is your solution? What are you different about? Like a lot of companies are very similar to other AI companies. So what is special about your company? What is the moat? What is differentiation? And I think the last piece is it a large market or not? Like sometimes I intuitively might not know whether it's large or not. If you have done the maths on it and say, hey, this is why this is large, I think if you cover those things, and yeah, the last one is the team slide. We want to know the team very well. So.
Hey, Priyank, there was a question that came up a minute ago about odds of applying as a solo founder as opposed to having a co-founder with you. Is the acceptance the same? Is it lower? If you don't mind sharing some thoughts there.
Yeah, so in the current cohort, we have already selected one solo founder company, and we are trying to close the company as we speak. We necessarily don't have a bias against solo founders. I think, but 14 years of VC, I can tell you that being solo founder is just hard. That's the only problem. So we don't have a bias. It's just, it's very painful for you. But we don't have bias against them. Yeah, and I think there were some questions around specific to AI. So in the past, I didn't cover this well. In the past, we used to have AI cohorts in Atoms from a variety of industries. So we had Industry 5.0, we had Industry for Bharat, we have cohort for, we are planning a cohort for fintech. So when you go to our website, you'll see a variety of companies. But the intent is in one cohort, we get like one set or technology or sector of companies. So we more focus on technology, which is AI. And John, maybe we can talk about the 4 or 5 areas we are looking at.
Yeah, maybe John, you can talk about productivity, coding, software engineering, entertainment, creativity, and maybe others.
Yeah. Let me go through that. So again, these are kind of a general frame that we have. This is what the Futures Fund has been focused on, but I would say too, there is some flexibility on this. There are already a couple of folks who chatted earlier. Ishi, thank you, and then others who kind of started taking us through their startups. There's a question about semiconductors, quantum. So I would say these are not hard and fast. There's exceptions that to be made here, but typically what we're looking for is founders building across the AI stack that have a focus on those 4 areas. So future of coding, future of productivity or work, future of entertainment, future of creativity. I'll grab kind of 2 extremes. Future of coding. So, companies that are investing in the shift from engineering software to orchestrating software, empowering a new generation of makers and creating, 100x engineers. So that's kind of one side. On the other side, maybe future of creativity. So really like investing in AI that dramatically lowers the time, the rigors, the costs, the expertise, and barriers to creation. So it unlocks like a new age of expression for everyone. So these are some like general buckets, but I wouldn't say these are limiting factors.
Yeah, I think there was some confusion. People asked us, are you investing in healthcare for AI? Are you investing in robotics? We are doing those investments. Essentially, the core is, wherever you're using AI and you're changing an industry or bringing new solutions, we're very keen to look at it. I think there was one question on semiconductor industry for quantum, where AI might not be used as a core. I think those ones are a little tricky or hard for us to judge. But to be honest, we, from Accel perspective, can invest in them directly, separately.
Great. Any other questions? If not, I can go through to my own questions, folks. Anyone wants to just unmute and ask your question? Yep, go for it, Guneet. Thank you.
Thanks. I just want to sort of understand, I understand there's a lot of India focus on this. So what is the balance between India and global? Is India the primary focus market, or are you okay with India being a market which is offering the complexity to fine-tune the product and then you actually monetize in global markets? What's really the focus?
Yeah, I'll probably go for it. So see, the intent is innovation from Indians. And within that, we didn't want it to be like, hey, Accel and Google ended up investing all people who are living in San Francisco, building companies in the US. So that's not the focus. So definitely there is a bit of focus that, hey, there should be some India connection. There have to be customers in India, and we are okay with funding SaaS companies which are building from India for the global market. But if you don't have any connection to India at all, I think it becomes very, very hard for us to justify. And maybe John can step in and explain that as well.
Yeah, I mean, look, from the Google perspective, we chose India for a reason. Google's been a committed partner in the country's journey to digital transformation for quite a long time. I'm sure many of you have seen there's been like multiple billion-dollar commitments in the infrastructure side. So the $10 billion India Digitization Fund. Most recently, we also launched another very large effort, a $15 billion AI data center to provide gigawatt scale compute. So, this is building on the investments that Google has made in a concerted fashion in India. And it also kind of is showing itself in a lot of our focus. So Gemma 3, when we launched that, we actually launched that with 6 Indian languages. We're also focusing on providing some democratization in the country as well. For instance, we're providing our kind of highest performing, most capable AI Pro plan for free to millions of eligible Reliance Geo users. So really, we're building on this investment that we've made in India to date. But again, as Priyank mentioned, there aren't like hard and fast firm requirements, but we would love to see building, from India for India. We would love to see folks, even if they're not currently living in India, if they're building solutions that they think could be valued by the Indian population. We think those would be fantastic companies to consider.
Next question. I think there was another hand raised by Zubin.
Zubin, you're on mute.
Yeah, I think you're still on mute.
Mute.
Yeah, Angelica, why don't you go there, Angelica?
Hey, hello. Sorry. I may look quite Chinese, but I'm Singaporean Indian, just to No, but basically I had a question because I saw that you guys talked about the Google Labs team as well as DeepMind. But just for a bit of context, we are actually an insights and measurement platform for social video search. So to basically do like ranking, discoverability, etc. for social video platforms on AI and social search. Given that, would there be a possibility if we were to enter the program that we could work with, let's say, the YouTube team, YouTube Shorts teams, as well as, let's say, the Google Search teams as well?
Yeah, I'll field that one. Great question. So the way that the program works today is that essentially, kind of to my earlier point, navigating Google from the outside is quite difficult. So as part of our process, when we're doing kind of our initial, diligence piece, and then once we do our onboarding, we try to better understand each company's particular roadmap, and then we look at that and we try to measure that against like which product areas within Google more broadly would be beneficial to have some type of partnership or relationship. And so many of the companies in the existing kind of futures fund portfolio immediately would have kind of interest in working with Play or working with YouTube and working with a couple of these different entities. And our goal is to find them the exact right people. And so within my team, we've all been at the company for quite a while. We have deep connections throughout the entirety of Google. And we're regularly bringing our companies to these product areas in order to kind of figure out how their business can align with that roadmap, or actually to problem solve. So I won't go to the specifics, but one of our portfolio companies, it's kicking ass, but it ended up having a large terms of service violation with one of Alphabet's larger PAs, and our job was to go in there and figure out how to solve that for them in a process that was very nebulous and murky that they probably wouldn't have been able to navigate successfully without us. So yeah, we can do it on a proactive basis in terms of addressing the roadmap. We can also do it reactively to fix things that kind of come up as companies are moving through their process.
Okay, very helpful. Thank you.
Other questions?
I think I saw one in the chat too. Is there a preference for either kind of consumer focused or enterprise B2B focused? I'll let Priyank answer that. From my side, no, but curious.
Yeah, no, I think Abhishek, for us, it's simple. Can this company become very large? I think that is the question which we think about. So yeah, there's no preference.
Frank, I read on the document you had us all these different advisors you have globally. Sounds like it touches every part from go-to-market to actually development. Can you share more about what are the types of value add you've seen provided prior cohort so folks here can get a better understanding on the value add?
Yeah, I think we thought long and hard about it, and we've been thinking about it for 5 years. See, in the beginning, we thought we'll just get amazing billion-dollar founders, unicorn founders come and speak to the audience, and they will get some good advice. And then people were like, "Hey, it's great, but I don't get something actionable from my company tomorrow." So there are 2, 3 big places where people get to learn. We actively try to bring Accel's portfolio companies, which are 1 or 2 funding rounds ahead of you, 1 or 2 years ahead of you, and have like a group sessions where they talk about the problems they had, how they built their sales go-to-market in the US or in India. How did they get the right set of positioning in the market? How did they do marketing? What were their hiring challenges? So the intent is more to learn from practitioners who are just 1 or 2 steps ahead of you, so you don't do those mistakes. And that can go very broad. Typically, what I've seen is people want to learn a lot more about how to hire the right team, how to set the culture in the beginning. I think that's one area where we have a lot of debate, people are very interested to learn because most people are first-time founders and they want to make sure that they don't make any mistakes. So that is one piece of it. The second big piece is always just customers. How do I get my customers? I think it's easier in the consumer side of things because you just put up ads, Google ads, YouTube ads, whatever, and you can start getting customers. But on the enterprise side, it's very hard. You can get very specific to specific industries, how do I get into a bank? Who should I talk? Or even cybersecurity, how do I get to CISOs? So there we try to get more specific help from Accel. Like we have our own 200 plus companies. We'll say, okay, you want to go to how to sell to Citi and JP Morgan in the US. These are 3 companies in Accel portfolio who have done that. These are the specific founders. We'll talk to those founders and say they're open to talking to you, and you can spend time with them to understand that. We are actually actively thinking of even getting a recruiter for Atoms companies and this cohort. So that discussion is ongoing. We have not put it up because it's not final, but early stage founders want to hire AI ML engineers. So the recruiter will have 3 focus: helping the companies hire AI ML engineers, helping the company with getting an EA for the founder, and hiring a recruiter for the company itself. And there's this whole conversation that a lot of founders in the beginning are not able to visualize how the company will grow over the next 2 years. So you kind of have, we're thinking about how to help you in org design. So hey, if your company scales to million to 5 million, those programs are still something which we are thinking through, but you can get a gist of how we are thinking. So I would say hiring and culture, sales are the 2 big things. Thankfully, with DeepMind and AIFF, we have this whole piece of architecture as well. Earlier companies used to sit down and debate and discuss, hey, my agent is not having memory issues. How do I solve it? There was no expert. It was more people would do 6 months effort and then figure out what is right. And then we will try to share those best practices among companies. But companies were very cagey and guarding of sharing those secrets. So I hope with DeepMind team, we can have a leg up on that. So that's the way we are thinking right now.
Great. If some of these founders are thinking about their round size and really want to be part of this program, is the 2 million sort of a cap for the round per year, or they could add this to an existing round they're looking to raise? What would you suggest?
Yeah, they can. So so I think it's a good question. I think yesterday I was having a conversation. Company said, hey, we just want to raise 1.2. We don't want to raise 2 million. That's too much dilution. We said, that's fine. That's not a problem. As long as we believe in the company, right? See, because both Accel and Google are large funds, we can continue to support. We can increase our ownership later on. So that is on the smaller side of things. On the bigger side of things, people can add us to we have done one company where Accel and Google are putting 2 million, and the company has added another 700K. They might increase it to 3 million. We are also okay with that. Yeah.
One more question, follow up before I go to Gloria to ask a question live. for what you had mentioned before, it seems like you're accepting folks into this program as on a rolling basis. Should people try to apply immediately now, or should they just try to apply a week before the deadline? And what suggestions do you have?
Yeah, I think you guys should apply now. So the good part is, so we got 1,300 applications. I mean, our Accel team is very excited. We've gone through 900 of them. We will send out a bunch of rejections in 1 or 2 days, I think. So we ideally want to get, and you have this big holidays coming in the middle. So it's okay. I mean, to be honest, it's okay. As long as, I think, if you apply by the first week or second week of Jan. First week of Jan will be great. So what John and I are trying to do is get you a term sheet by hopefully January. I mean, if we can get you funded by mid-Feb, like that's our target. So the earlier you apply, I think the better it is. And given the program, so typically the first 2 weeks of the program, we get a lot of applications. The last 2 weeks of the program, we get a lot of applications. So then we have this lean period in the middle. I think, to be honest, nothing will happen. Like, we won't have any meetings and interviews in the last 2 weeks of December, to be honest. Like, I'm on vacation. I think John is going to be on vacation. So, yeah.
So, and it sounds like it's also a really unique term sheet based on the company, the stage, also what you're seeing in the market. It's not one size fits all, right?
Actually, the term sheet is pretty standard. Term sheet doesn't change. I think it's just the investment amount changes depending on the company. So yeah,
and the valuation.
Yeah, and the valuation. Yeah. We don't have a set. So we don't follow like Y Combinator or other firms where you're like 7% for 125K. It's not the case. One of the companies we are talking to, they raised their last round at 25 million. And when we put in money, this round might also be at 25 million because they haven't had any progress since their last round. So so it's all over the place. Depends on the company.
Great.
I was just going to add one quick thing on the application piece. So tomorrow, Priyanka and I are doing kind of a much larger AMA, kind of early morning Pacific time. I was very happy that Chris offered to do this session here. So maybe that one's going for quantity. And I'm sure there's going to be a bunch of great people, but as former Googlers, we're going for quality on this session right here. So maybe a smaller group, but obviously we've all worked with Googlers for many years and been a part of the company, and just fantastic crew. So just love the opportunity to meet with you guys all here today and have this kind of smaller, more intimate discussion and forum so that we can talk through it. So I also shared my email address as well. If there are specific questions that you don't necessarily feel comfortable to ask in a larger group setting, feel free to just send them my way too, and we can go through that together. Ahmed, I see you have a hand up.
Yeah, thank you. Great session. Thanks, team. My startup is one of the core requirements of my startup is depersonalization for travel e-commerce. That's kind of at a high level without going too much in details. One of the things that you mentioned is that support and help that we can seek from DeepMind team and other Google AI teams and engineers. Can you kind of talk about in the past, what kind of help has that team provided to founders specifically?
Yeah, it's expansive. So we have about 30 companies in the portfolio right now. Each one of those companies works with the DeepMind team and the labs team in its own kind of unique way. So it really just kind of depended and contingent on what the startup is building. But essentially what we do is we have an initial kickoff call with each one of our portfolio companies to kind of get everything started. In advance of that kickoff call, we send across a deck. It's like a UXR-led discussion, and we kind of state areas that we think might be interesting for integrations, having like done diligence to understand a roadmap. And we ask the portfolio companies to do a little bit of homework in advance of that session to tell us like what they're building, who within the DeepMind team or focus area within DeepMind would be best beneficial for them, and kind of where they're struggling the most. And so then what we do is we bring in the right folks between DeepMind and labs and Inception. It's like another kind of early stage team that sits within Google DeepMind to bring the right researchers or product folks or engineers or technical support crew to that meeting to help kind of tackle the first initial set of questions, but also to ensure you can build that relationship. And then we create and stand up Slack channels or GChat channels with each one of these companies We also provide kind of weekly to bi-weekly, whatever cadence the portfolio companies want, support. So as you grow, you can tap into our team as much or as little as you want, but you have that direct channel into the right folks from the very beginning. So one of the most recent investments we did was a company that's focusing on gaming. And so we brought in like the 3 leading gaming research scientists on the GDM side to join that meeting. We brought in kind of the folks on the product side within GDM. We brought in folks within Google Labs who are working on a gaming development and tool as well. So our goal is just to like kind of bring in all the right folks, get you in the room with them, have you meet them, describe what you're doing, and then they can kind of collectively brainstorm with you. So that's how we do it. And the engagement kind of evolves based on the needs of each one of the portfolio companies.
Thank you. Go for it, Gloria.
Hey guys, thank you for doing this. Very sorry that I joined late. I may have missed your criteria earlier about the requirement for the Indian origin. I'm originally from APAC area, and our startup Atlas Pro is essentially the network intelligence for critical industries like telecom. International defense is one of them. So yeah, in India is obviously a huge market there for us, and so yeah. Just want to hear more about that.
Maybe I take that. So I think, Gloria, currently the thought process is these are startups where some benefit is happening to the India market. Or the other way to think about this is Indians are making something which is for the global, like for the whole world. And the team entirely does not need necessarily to be Indian. There needs to be some India connection is the way we think about it. So for example, one of the companies we are evaluating is they are helping, let's say, cure cancer, but they do a lot of their research in India. Right? So that, at least for me, and this is a debate which we have, I think it's very specific to the company, but like there was a group of Indians which were living in the US and SF. They were doing tax and accounting only for the US market. We were like, hey, that doesn't qualify for this because it's just giving capital. So I think that's the shades of gray. I would say it's not completely black or white. So it's specific to the company, we can figure it out.
Yeah, sounds good. And on that end, can I ask a follow-up question on the, your guys' connections into like, opening up doors with the Indian government? Is that on the table?
Yeah, 100%. So I think we definitely want to, like the way I articulate is if I can find you the first 3 customers, if I can find you whatever you need in India and connections and all, I think like we'll be very happy. Like that's the intent, make you successful. So yeah, and in India we can do whatever we're hoping on the Google GTM side for the US market. Yeah,
that's good. Thank you.
Priyanka, you mentioned before the process of evaluating applications and interviews. Is there just one interview amongst with both of you, or can you talk more about what the process is like as well if you are granted the interview?
Yeah, the process we have agreed upon. So let me tell you. So when you apply, it goes into a central pool, which Google team and Accel team can both see. So we have a system behind. Typically, we have a much larger team. So our analysts and I go through all the companies. We shortlist the companies. We are trying to be fast. So hopefully people get rejection mails in 1 to 2 weeks of their applications. So first set will go out now. Once you're shortlisted, I will do the first call, or I will do the first call with you guys along with one, or maybe the analyst does the first call if the number of quantity is too much. Once we like the company, hey, this kind of is interesting for us, we flag it to John and team in Google so that they can run this parallel process. And they can also meet you. And just because of timing and coordination, we want to run the 2 processes in parallel. And when both the teams agree, Accel also agrees and Google also agrees, then you are part of the cohort. So it's not like, hey, Accel is saying we are investing and John is like, yeah, let's do it. No, it's both the teams kind of have their own process. We try to, once you are after the first interview, typically it should take 10 days for you to get, maybe 10 to 12 days for you to get your answer of yes or no about the company. No's you will hear faster. Yes, it will take some time.
Great, thank you. And as part of the investment, board seats required, a board observer, any other conditions people should think about and know about?
Oh, so traditionally Accel, I think the term sheet will always have this condition of at least Accel taking board seat available of like we will have a provision of a board seat. We might not take it. We typically take board seats at a slightly later stage and the company is slightly more mature. John can talk about on their end.
Yeah, I would say from the Google side, we will not be asking for a board seat.
Thank you. Folks, why don't you ask your questions or I can keep asking mine. Plenty more questions from my side. A question I have is, you've listed up the types of categories you provided that you want people to potentially slot into. Do you see one of the categories that has the least amount of applications that we think about perhaps new ideas for people who don't have any ideas yet?
So I can tell you where we're seeing too many applications. Typically, it is on the hiring side of things, like job recruiting, definitely. Second one is a lot of the marketing creatives. I think those are most obvious ones. I think those are the two busiest of applications, and I think it's just very hard to stand out in that application group among those two. And the third one is education. So like personalized tutors in education, like I think every sixth application is that. So I think it's a little tricky. I think maybe I can, so like agentic AI companies for accounting, insurance, vertical applications inside industries, we'll be very excited to have those. So that is one I'm looking forward to. I would say developer tools, cybersecurity, that's a second, and infrastructure, that's another bit we don't see enough. So good chance for you to stand out. But also those are harder categories to win because typically you will have a US competition to that, and then they might be very well funded. So it's a little tricky. I think, to be honest, we're trying to get more innovative applications for India use cases and consumer AI. I think those are very few. Like very unique India, very unique, not even India, just consumer. Like I think if it works in India, it'll work anywhere in the world. So we are okay with that. I think those are at least my vantage point. John, anything you want to add?
No, I think you covered that great.
Just want to clarify something which Priyank had mentioned regarding the areas of interest. Do you care about how well the founder team have known each other versus the idea and how fast they execute? And the context for that is clearly we can build a lot of stuff. We could run a hackathon process between now and the end of the application deadline, and perhaps submit a few different ideas there. Priyank, is that wise, or you really said, look, I just want people who've known each other for a while and build together. Don't bother doing a hackathon for this.
Yeah, I think it's okay. My experience has been like I have funded some 33 odd companies, and 7 of them have shut down. And out of those 7, 5 shut down because founders fought with each other. And there were 2 extreme examples where one, the founders knew each other only for 1 year, and the other was founders had known each other for 15 years. And the difference was, in both the cases, founders were not intellectually honest with each other. When you ask who made this decision, the founder was like, okay, like everybody's looking at each other in the room. And I'm like, you guys are friends. You should have told this guy he's making the CEO is making the wrong decision. And they were like, we didn't want to spoil our relationship, our friendship. I think that's where you're not being intellectually honest. You're putting your life's work in the company. So I think that is the core essence of. So historically, yes, people who have known each other for a bit, like at least 3-4 years, has worked or they work very closely. But I don't have a bias, but I want to see whether the founders are good amongst both of them. I should also warn you that a lot of investors, and not necessarily just Atoms, is like people look at how founders talk in a pitch, right? Is the other founder cutting the other guy? Everything he says is countermanding. I think those are just basic communication hygiene you have to be aware of. But yeah, I mean, I don't know if it's not a great answer, but I think generally people who know each other well tend to work better.
Yeah. Thank you. Folks, if there's no other questions, I'm going to let them head off to their busy schedule. Any last words, Priyank or Jonathan?
Oh, looking forward. I'm very excited that the Google Xooglers are like this. You guys are the talented folks. Looking forward to having a lot of good companies from here.
Yeah. Same here. And again, stoked to have you guys on the call. Happy to field any like questions if you want to shoot me a note offline. And really excited to see what you guys bring. So let's continue the conversation, and let's definitely I would err on the side of applying sooner than later, just so it makes it a little easier for us. But no, thank you all so much for making the time, for spending an hour with us, and yeah, fingers crossed.
Yeah, awesome.